Back in the days, you could be on welfare forever up to your kids was 18, and per child, you got a bunch of money. They don't do that no more. So what they did, they would increase your welfare payments if you got your son or daughter on Ritalin through the LA Unified School District.
So we was talking about why are black kids not learning the curriculum and then how did Ritalin play a role in our communities? Or what role did Ritalin play into the detriment of our community?
Well, based on my observation, the curriculum that's
All right, man. So what we was he talking about the curriculum that's taught to our kids.
see the problem in California and other inner cities is that the curriculum that they teach to people in well-to-do communities is totally different than the curriculum that they teach in the inner cities. For example, the food that they serve in the suburbs is totally different than the food they serve in the urban community. Those two supermarkets are two separate supermarkets. And the curriculum that they were serving in LA is different due to the fact that we have a gang issue or violence or poverty issue. And when you have poverty, you have violence. So the kids that may have went to a Fremont or a Locke or Jeff High School or something like that before they started busing people to Palos Verde and Palisades and Santa Monica, well, those people, those people are learning a curriculum that's destined for failure. I don't know if that makes any sense or not. What happened was they took the money that was supposed to be used for educating inner city youth, especially in particularly black youth, and then they started complaining that they couldn't educate these kids. They're too hyper, they too violent, they're illiterate, they're all the above statements that makes you a functioning illiterate. So what they did, they took the black mothers and said, look, you want to increase in your welfare payments? Because back in the days, you could be on welfare forever up to your kids was 18, and per child, you got a bunch of money. They don't do that no more. So what they did, they would increase your welfare payments if you got your son or daughter on Ritalin through the LA Unified School District. So that's why they came out that term, the short bus and all that. It wasn't just for kids that was mentally challenged, but the Ritalin and all that was put together in order to calm the black children down that was considered hyper. And then they took the money for the education that they're supposed to educate them with, and they started educating people from other races that didn't speak English or didn't understand the American culture in the school system. So you rob Peter to pay Paul. Mind you, we had people come from all over the world that didn't speak English, didn't know nothing about the American curriculum in the schools, none of that. So what they said was, okay, these black kids, we're going to use them as an excuse to where they can't learn, and we're gonna hit their parents with a incentive if on welfare if she takes her son and get him the Thorazine or whatever it is that they putting them on, and then consequently we're gonna take that
Ritalin.
money, Ritalin, then we're gonna take that other money and invest in educating people who didn't understand the system that was fresh here from every country.
Wow. It's a cold game.
That's what they did. And then you got to look at the curriculum that's being taught to your children. Don't just send your kids to school thinking they learning. No, they not. They getting spot, chase, mud, and Christopher Columbus discovered America. But on the other side of town, they're teaching their kids about quantum leap technology. Beverly Hills High School got a different lunch room than the high school at Fremont. The prisons in their community got a different setting than the prisons that for people in the inner city. The people in the city pay far more taxes than somebody that's a Amazon owner or something like that. I can guarantee you, me and you probably pay more taxes than most billionaires. They don't pay taxes. It's not going to happen.
Not gonna happen.
It's called recess for a reason, because the rich is out on recess like kindergartners, and we in a recession. And when they say when y'all get it back together, we'll come off recess. That's why they say the government is in recess. What's the root word of, what's the compound word of recess? Recession, right?
Recession, yeah.
So when they go into recess, y'all go get it together, get our money. We out playing. Then y'all go into a recession.
Damn. Just like that. Nah, it's a cold game that welfare, you know. They use that to destroy everything. Can't have a man in the house if you want to get this check. Not the check, but if you want to get the housing, right? Is that how they do that?
Welfare is an institution that's become a corporation. It was public, but now it's a private corporation that should go on the stock market and be traded every day. Because what they do is with welfare and with child support, the taxpayers put aside a certain amount of money every year to cover that Medi-Cal and all that type stuff. So they give welfare to the poorest people or the poorest people, and then they run the daddy out the house, and then they send the daddy a child support bill because the mama got food stamps, but the money was already paid for the taxpayers beforehand, so they double dipping.
Wow.
If I'm a taxpayer and you take some money out of my check every week for Medi-Cal, for welfare, for you, for public utilities or whatever, highways or whatever, and then I say, yeah, well, I'm taking care of the poor with this welfare thing. And then you come back and charge the daddy later on talking about you owe child support. And then welfare and food stamps is two different things. Food stamps come from the Department of Agriculture. It's like I ask people all the time, what is your social security number got to do with your credit? Why is that? That's your social security for the future. But people that do real business, they use EIN numbers. Like, what is the social security number that you will run for Elon Musk? What's his FICO score? Is it 850? How do you get those SoFi stadiums if you're not using public bonds that taxpayers pay for? Dude, that own SoFi and the Formula, they don't just go buy that. They get bonds for that. You and I can't. We can barely get an apartment per se. But what does your social security number, technically speaking, have to do with you? Because they use that to trace you. That's why Experian and all them being investigated by Congress right now. Because you got three different credit agencies, but only one is being used. So they slant drilling because all the home loans that come go through Experian. They get money from that. Then the car loans go through Experian. Then everything else go through them, go through them, go through them. Then they tell you no. So they're creating poverty. That's who creates poverty. The credit unions. Oh man, I got a low score. I can't get a house. Oh man, I got a low score. Ooh, they said no, but you got two other agencies on there next to Experian that nobody acknowledges. So they got a monopoly on the business, and then all the business is being sent to them. You get child support or taxes, they put a lien on your Experian account. Why is that? Who's slant drilling like that? You getting money. Y'all slant drilling. That's what you're doing.
Slant drilling. That's what they do. That's how the rich stay rich. So now you was telling me about a time how you almost stole the Quran.
May Allah forgive me, man. When I was in prison, first let me tell you how real fast how I was already God body and I studied with the Israelites and the 5%ers. I've been in a few churches, been baptized through Grace Jones. Dad, I believe, had a church back in the days in the hood. And over there in Hoover Hood off near Manchester.
Her brother, Noel Jones.
No, that's he come late. The father had a church at first
Okay.
in the hood. And uh so when I went to the pen, I was walking by this brother's cell and I heard him calling the call to prayer. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And I had never heard that before. So when I walked by the cell, I was like, say, Mike. I said, bruh, what was that you were saying? And he was like, Allahu Akbar, Allah. And I'd never heard that, nevertheless seen a black man screaming it. So when he got to, I said, man, can you do that again? And then he just started laughing. And then he opened up this book. And it was green on the outside. It had gold writing on the inside in Arabic. I'd never seen Arabic writing before in my life.
Okay.
And it had English, I think it was called like the Yusuf Ali edition or something. So I seen that book and he was showing me, I think he let me see it once to take it to the sale. So I took it there and I was looking at it and I was fascinated by it because I used to speak several languages growing up. And I was fascinated to see the Arabic on the right and the English on the left, whatever. So I gave it back to him, and then they was gonna transfer us to the prison, to the big prisons. You know, this was just a reception center, Chino. So I was like, man, I gotta figure out how I could steal that Quran from that brother. And I really went on a mission. I thought I was like Mission Impossible, knowing I'd have got killed. I'm crawling across the prison floor because we embarrassed. Knowing I'm thinking I'm going to escape plus steal the Quran. My mind is gone. I'm not staying there because we just got there. You ready to go as soon as you get there. You're not institutionalized to the degree that you fit in and programming.
Yeah.
So I'm crawling across the yard. My intention, bottom line, was to sneak over to his cell, steal the Holy Quran because I wanted it so bad. I didn't know you could order one and there's gonna have them when you got where you going. But I wanted that Quran so bad because of that writing, and I wanted to read it. And I got so far, and I don't know if I got scared or the realization came that you know you're gonna whoop your ass if you steal his Quran. Because I could barely say the Quran. So I went back, and then when I got to the prison where I was going, a couple of weeks in, you know, they bring in the new people, they call them fish. And I'm looking, watching the bus come in like they do in the movies. And look who I see getting off the bus. The same dude that I was going to steal the Quran from and sneak off to another prison with. But if he'd have caught me, he'd probably upside my head, man. More than likely, the Muslims probably would have like accepted it, like, hey, little brother, you know, you stole that. But I literally wanted to steal it. That's how in love I was. But when I heard him calling that call to prayer, my body froze, man. It was like I went into a time portal. Then when we got there, a brother named Kawat and another brother, I forget his name. And me and the dude that I was shackled to going to New York named Daryl at the time, we was both from New York, both going to prison. So we had something in common. We was actually handcuffed together. You know, in the bus, when you handcuffed or going to prison, they put you in this bus and they take you through these back highways in California that you never knew existed. And they play country western, down, 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 and it'd be a big old redneck in the back of the bus in a cage like this with a big ass gun, and you just be cuffed all the way there. Then they stop at restaurants and eat, and they come out, and you be sitting on the bus like, these fools left us on the damn bus. While they went to Denny's and then they came back, but they'll kill you if you get out of pocket. So when we get to the prison, the Muslim niggas run up, woo, 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 because man, it was kind of wild and flamboyant, flashy. They're like, man, you all gonna be Muslim. I already got exposed to the Quran and the prayer thing, so I'm like curious now. Yeah, I get some further learning on this. So they said, man, y'all got two names. Y'all pick which one gonna be who. He said, we got Raheem and Malik. And my boy at first, he said, I'm gonna be Malik. And then I said, I'm gonna be Raheem. And then he said, no, I'm gonna be Raheem, because I tricked him, because I wanted to be Malik. I know if I went one way, he went another way. I said, well, I'm gonna be Malik then. But unbeknownst to us, attributes have struggles. So his struggle went one way as Raheem, and Malik's struggle took another route, being Malik, doing what I do in the streets with the gangs and all that, you know, collectively speaking. But the funny part was, they called him Raheem and called me Malik. And then I looked at Raheem was doing a little drinking and I was outside doing gang and so I was like, what about I took his route?
Yeah.
So I had to take the attribute that was me, Malik, the one that Allah trusts with the keys to heaven and hell.
Wow.
I'm the only one that he trusts with the keys to heaven and hell. The most ugly angel. I'm the most unattractive angel there is.
Malik.
Yes, sir.
Damn.